If you're trying to make money with sports cards, but you're not getting the results you want, there's one mistake I see people making more than anything else that costs them a ton of money and keeps them from ever hitting their goals. And if you're not where you want to be right now, there's a good chance this is part of the problem for you too. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what this is, where it shows up, and what to do instead so you can stop holding yourself back from the results you deserve. So the mistake is this. It's that you change the rules the moment something doesn't go your way. Now, the tricky part about this is you might actually have a really strong strategy, and oftentimes has nothing to do with the strategy itself, like the reason why you bought the card. Instead, it's all about what you do after the play is in motion. Perfect example of this is you buy a card to get graded. You see that there's a whole bunch of money to be made if it gets a PSA 10, but that card comes back from PSA as a 9. And when you look at comps on the PSA 9s, it looks like you actually might end up losing a few dollars after the grading fees, the selling fees, and everything is taken into consideration. But wait a minute, we were going to make a whole bunch of money on this card, right? When it came back at 10. So to go from that plan to losing money on the card kind of sucks, right? And it's right here. It's this moment right here where you change the rules and you say, okay, well, I don't feel good about this anymore. I don't want to take a loss on this play. So I'm going to suddenly hold this card just to avoid that loss. And I'm telling you guys, that's the number one thing that's probably holding you back in your business from actually getting where you want to go. Your money is tied up in a card with no plan, and that's a dangerous place to be because you no longer have a timeline. And when we have no timeline for an investment, that's when we end up holding cards not for weeks or months, but for years sometimes, waiting for the right moment to finally get rid of that thing. Another example of this is when you speculate on a player and you say, hey, I'm going to bet on this player's performance this year. I'm going to buy some cards and try to flip them during the season. But then let's say the player comes out and underperforms or gets hurt. Then what do? The values of those cards are going to drop off, and you're going to be in the situation where you're looking at your stuff wondering, what do I actually do here? I can't make money and I certainly don't want to take a loss. So I guess I'm just going to hold these things indefinitely. And once again, you're in this position where you have absolutely no timeline for making that sale, and your money is stuck in these cards. Guys, anytime your money is stuck in one card, you can't use that same money to go and buy another card. And I'll tell you what, there's always another card out there that you could be making money on. And that means that you're costing yourself money, not just once, but twice. So the first time is in the money that you're probably going to end up losing on that play, but you're also costing yourself in the opportunity cost of what you could be making on another card if you would just free up the money and get to that next play. So one of the things I like to do with any investment is to make sure I can clearly explain the why and the when. I call this the why-when framework. Pretty straightforward, right? But I want to be able to logically explain why I think the card's value will rise and when I think it's going to happen. And if I can't explain both of those things, it's probably not the right pickup. If I can explain both of those things, then great. I at least have a logical investment thesis. Now, what that doesn't mean is that I'm always going to be right. So for example, if I buy a card thinking that I'm going to get it graded, the play that I have in mind is to grade the card. And that's how I expect to make my money if it goes my way. But guess what? It's not always going to go my way. And so PSA 9s are just part of the game. If you grade cards, you're going to get 9s. You're going to get 10s, but you're going to get 9s too. It's just part of it. And so if the play I have in mind is to grade the card and flip it, and that's how I'm planning on making my money, then that's the play that I need to execute. And whether I get it right or wrong, I still want to stick to that play because I don't have a backup plan. Sometimes we might be able to stack a couple of strategies. We might be able to get timing working in our favor. And in those scenarios, yeah, it might make sense to hold on to a 9 a little bit longer, but the majority of the time, I just want to execute the play that I had in mind and then move on to the next play. I don't want to play in cards that have tiny upside. I don't want to play in a card where my best case scenario is to break even. I want to get out of that card and get on to the next one where I can make 400% if it goes my way. No one is going to bat 1,000 in this game. Even the best card investors get it wrong sometimes, and that's okay. It's that the wins are going to more than make up for the losses as long as you get to that next win. Whenever I'm in the situation where I'm trying to decide, do I sell and just take the money I can get for this card now, even for a loss, or do I hold it and hope for the best? The thing that I ask myself is, would I have actually bought this card as a PSA 9? Would I have actually invested in this player if I knew he was injured? And usually the answer is a resounding no. I would not have bought that card. And so when we're holding on to that card, that's kind of the same thing. It's like we're saying that, yes, I'm willing to have this money be tied up in this card that I never would have invested in the first place, not intentionally anyway. So here's here's what actually works. When you're investing in a card, make sure you have a logical investing thesis. That's the why-when framework. So why is it going to rise? When do you think it's going to rise? And then whatever that plan was, go execute that plan and then move the card regardless of the results. Unless your plan from the get-go was to buy this card and hold it, there's not a reason to hold the card. Execute the strategy and then get your money back out so you can get to the next one. There's almost always going to be more upside on that next card that actually has a legit plan ahead of it versus a card that you've already executed the plan where you no longer have a plan. Holding that card is not a good use of your resources. And it's how your entire business gets held up. It's how you hold yourself from profits. It's how you ruin any and all consistency. And guys, guess what? It's usually rooted in our own egos, in our own emotions, because we don't want to take that loss. We wish we had won on a card, but we can wish in one hand and in the other and see which fills up first, or we can just make the move that's objectively going to make us more money in the long run. Another little trick I like to use here is to ask myself, if this was not me, if this was a friend's card, what would I tell that friend to do? Because sometimes if we can divorce ourselves from the outcome of that particular card and we kind of remove the emotion and add some distance, that's what helps us think more clearly so we can actually be objective. Because I bet 99 times out of 100 you would say, oh dude, what are you doing with that card? Get rid of that thing, get to the next one. So why would you tell your friend that, but you can't follow that same advice yourself? You know it's the right move. It's just hard to pull the trigger on that move sometimes when it means accepting a loss. Guys, at the end of the day, you don't need a better strategy. You just need to actually follow through on the one that you already have. And if you're not where you want to be with cards, but you're willing to put in the work, guys, join us in Ignite. We're going to help you get there faster than you'll be able to do on your own by sharing what actually works and giving you a support system so you never get stuck along the way. Links in the description if you want to see details, but otherwise, we'll see you on the next video.